Hey there everyone, I'm Doug Moss and welcome back to week 2 of Prosper the City. Now I know you're excited to finally figure out the picking and the planning of the project, figuring out the what that you guys are gonna actually be doing together. But before we do that, let's root everything we do in the work of him who went before us. We're gonna look at a story of Jesus. And before you dive in, I just wanna give you some background. See, leprosy is not a disease that we have a ton of experience with in our society today, but a couple of things to note: that it was the most ostracizing thing you could have. That if you had leprosy, you were kicked outside of the city walls. You weren't allowed to be in community. You weren't allowed to participate in society anymore. You weren't even allowed to see your family, because they just didn't understand how the contagiousness of leprosy worked. The only thing they knew to do was just to make sure that you were as far away as possible. And so I want you to factor that in, even as you look at this story here in a few moments, that for Jesus to even be interacting with a man with leprosy was already a big deal for what was going on at the time. And I'd also like for you to think about it with a little bit of an eye to our current situation as well. That we live in a culture that, in much the same way, we separate people out. We didn't necessarily call it quarantining, we call it sending them to the hospital. But in one way or another, we take people who are sick and who are hurting and we keep them away from us, and we keep ourselves enclosed with the people that are healthy and doing fine. And so as you wrestle with the story, as you learn from what Jesus wants us to learn today, I just pray that he would enlighten your conversation, that he would give you an insight and a wisdom into how God's heart breaks for the people around us and how God finds ways to bring people that are hurting and sick close. And I pray that he will guide your conversation together today. Have a great time.